most of you already know by now, we love to travel and fawn over some of the most luxurious places on the planet. And in our holy crusade to discover and experience everything fancy, we've met, or rather heard, of the illustrious few who've experienced such delights. The few men and women with the charm and the cash to experience true luxury. However, none of them could ever hold a candle to the king of Saudi Arabia himself, Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud. Cue the intro. Welcome back to Deluxe Living, where we give you a taste of how the 1% live, featuring our guest star for this video, King Salman of the House of Saud. The man's the king of one of the wealthiest nations in the world. The fact alone is bound to pique your interest. Now roll the carpets and let's get the show on the road. Oh, but before that, please do so and leave us a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, well, what are you waiting for? Subscribe and hit that bell button. We already know that the man's filthy rich and makes a habit of flexing that fact. But did you know that the current king of Saudi is a latecomer to the party? King Salman was already in his twilight years when he ascended to the golden throne. He was already 79 years old when the title of kingship was passed on to him after his older brother's death in 2015. Along with the prodigious key to heaven on earth, he was automatically hailed as a new head of the family, gaining complete control over the Saud family's astronomical net worth of $1.4 trillion, which is divided amongst the 2,000 members of this massive and insanely wealthy family. There's also the matter of ownership over Saudi's very own Aramco, one of the largest crude oil manufacturers on the planet, with vast oil reserves running underneath the country. The family owns 98% of the company and remains as the primary source of income for the House of Saud, which invariably belongs to the newly christened king. While the king may be a recent addition to the scene, the near-limitless wealth and influence under his disposal more than makes up for lost time. Naturally, the king's regal status is not exclusive to his glamorous palaces, royal courtyards, and grandiose shindigs. No expenses were spared in ensuring that His Highness lives a life of bliss and uncompromising comfort. As evident from his impressive fleet of customized airliners, the king commands a total of 6 massive aircrafts that transport His Eminence wherever he is needed. The king has flown within the confines of a Boeing 7878, a 777-400, a pair of 747-800, an Airbus A340-200, and the crowning jewel of the fleet, the pair of 747-800. The astonishing size of these aircrafts warrants an equally massive price reaching up to $100 million, and that's not even accounting for the extensive customizations done to each plane. Every plane has been retrofitted and internally restructured to accommodate the king's royal status. For obvious security reasons, no details are currently available regarding the interior of these flyers. Of course, that won't stop us from fantasizing of what exquisite facilities await the lucky few to have boarded these planes. Yours truly even heard of rumors of these decked-out planes with fully furnished conference rooms, bathroom, golden bedrooms, and even the king's personal throne room. While most of these may only be based as rumors, one can't deny the plausible existence of such. One thing's for sure, these planes would most certainly cost a fortune to acquire. The personalized additions along with routine maintenance of these flying marvels could potentially reach another $100 million. But who are we kidding? $100 million is probably an insignificant nuisance to the king. These planes aren't just for show, as these aircraft transport His Highness during his long diplomatic visits. The king is regarded as a prominent figure among world leaders, presenting a very lucrative deal for any nation lucky enough to be graced by his presence. Every world leader is warmly welcomed into neighboring nations, with arms wide open to greet and provide comfort equal to their ranking. King Salman takes this notion to an entirely new level, as your basic welcome comedy is grossly insufficient and lacking the proper decorum. The king has been known to personally provide inputs regarding the welcome treatment he'd receive, just like that time when he temporarily resided in the Four Seasons Hotel during his trip to Washington, D.C. in 2015. To prepare for the king's arrival, the hotel staff booked 200 rooms in his name and completely redecorated the interior of the hotel, at the behest of the king himself. The king personally saw it that the hotel was decorated worthy of his presence, complete with gold lace furniture and lots of red carpet. The folks of Saudi were kind enough to deliver the gold by a plane to the hotel staff. Heck, there were even red carpets in the parking lot. Got a superb hotel experience yourself? Well, don't be shy and share it with us in the comments below. We're always on the lookout for our next feature, and yours might just be it. Subscribe now and switch on that bell button for more updates. Of course, this wouldn't be the last time that he went all out with his trips abroad. By 2017, the king had already paid a visit to multiple countries, each visit somehow growing ever more spectacular and completely surpassing the previous. Even managing to completely overwhelm the likes of Russia with his extravagant request. During his visit to the Soviet nation, he brought with him an entourage of 1,500 guests composed of fellow diplomats, his personal chefs, his servants, and even the servants of his companions, renting the entirety of the Ritz-Carlton and Four Seasons Hotel to accommodate him and his massive legion of followers. Both hotels had to cancel earlier bookings and relocate permanent residences at the hotel just to please the king's boisterous preferences. The ambitious move cost a hefty $3 million, which is but a meager price, to ensure a comfortable stay for the king. His overwhelming presence was signaled prior to his arrival thanks to the gold escalator he used to descend from his plane. Too bad his swanky arrival was unceremoniously cut short when the escalator malfunctioned, forcing His Highness to manually walk down the escalator. Additionally, the king and his royal gang of acquaintances employed 200 limousines to get around. By the end of the trip, the total expense had accumulated to $100 million. There really is no way of going around it. The king loves to live a lush and decadent lifestyle and will go to incredible lengths to ensure this in every endeavor. During a state visit to Japan, the king brought with him a Lockheed C-130 Hercules to carry his luxurious luggage, which included a pair of Mercedes-Benz S600 serving as his official set of wheels during his visit. The ginormous aircraft was meant for transporting military resources and vehicles from tanks to APCs. The plane was leased to the king by the Netherlands Royal Air Force for the price of $14 million. By this point, the entire world had already been well acquainted with the king's particular taste in traveling, so it should come as no surprise that he booked a total of 1,500 rooms and rented 500 limos during his stay in the land of the rising sun. Touring various nations and the occasional cash splurge is busy work. There's nothing that the king loved more than lounging within the safe walls of the Saudi's 12 royal palaces. Out of these 12 palaces, only 3 noteworthy palaces stand out. The first of which is the AlYamama Palace at the heart of the capital, Riyadh. The AlYamama serves as the reigning monarch's headquarters, where the king conducts his business and rules over his citizens in style. The exterior of the palace is, dare I say, an architectural beauty unlike most. What differentiates this palace from the rest of the plug is the near seamless blend of modern and straight-edge architecture with the subtle yet elegant aesthetics of Arabian culture, culminating in a perfect symmetry of the past, the present, and the future. The interior perfectly contrasts the minimal and clean look of the exterior. The walls are covered in gold and decorated beautifully with Arabic designs. The high ceilings are illuminated by chandeliers, while the floor is covered in exquisitely designed carpets. Coming up next is the Erga Palace, bearing the same level of decadence as the AlYamama with gold furniture, gold walls, and even gold tissue dispensers. The Erga Palace serves as the receiving palace for the king's esteemed visitors. It is here where then President Barack Obama was graciously welcomed. The palace functions as a conference area of sorts, where several diplomatic congregations and other international events are held. Last but not the least is the oldest palace among the king's many property, the AlYamama Palace in Ad-Diriyah. The palace serves as a cultural landmark for the Saudi royals, as it is one of the oldest palaces in the world, presenting a perfectly preserved image of Saudi's humble origins before its meteoric rise in wealth. Its design and structure are more modest than the previous two, bearing traditional Arabic motifs and black and white photographs of the royalty who once roamed the halls of this pristine time capsule. In a way, it is the quintessential representation of Saudi royalty, regal, traditional, and opulent. And that concludes our feature of King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud. Comment down below and tell us who we should do a feature next. We value your input and continuously strive to provide you nothing but the best. With that said, don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notifications for more deluxe living.